So I've outlined in a previous video how to do this, but in Bendtech you can basically print to PDF and make a DXF file of your cut templates. So I did that, and I am doing what I outlined in the old video, where I distance them apart the specified distance in the software. So when we measure to the bend, the cut template says 5 inches and 122 thousandths from end to end. That box section that's just straight with no cuts, that's, from the line to the end of the template, that's 2 inches. So if you subtract that from 5.122, you get 3.122. So knowing that, you can measure from the end of the cut to the bend, which is on this flat template, what it measures as for the start and end. So using that, you can figure out exactly where your bends are in relation to the cuts. Other thing you're going to need to know is when you make a mount or clip for a Sharpie or some sort of marking device, have that be a specified distance from the torch, because this way you can line everything up in CAD before the cuts are even done, or the marks. So you would just put it, like say it's 2.5 inches, which is what my clip is. You would move the lines 2.5 inches to whatever direction to get the right measurement. I tried designing these clips for a Sharpie, and they turned out to be a big failure. Oh well. Alright, so I had a little issue with my previous G-code where there was some erroneous tool paths, and that was due to some geometry out in space that I was unaware of. So I went ahead and deleted that. So we're going to find our MO3s. Just a side note, learn from my mistakes, delete the MO5s as well. It caused a cut that I didn't want. Highlight all. We go to the top, or just M3 I think. Okay, so here's our first M3. That looks normal, and that's the start of our program the way it should be. Yeah, all the X values look normal. And we get to our second X value, X 26.8. So we're going to delete this M3. And we're going to delete this M3. And then we're left with the last one for the last cut. So we'll save and refresh. And make sure our torch is disabled for now, just to check. And I'm gonna go ahead and home this thing real quick. Alright, so my clip was a little off on the measurements, so I just duct taped it, and it seems to work. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this tube and see how she does.
If you ride with me, I gotta work for the both of us. I'll put you in the driver's seat. Don't gotta hurry and in love. When you ride with me, don't gotta worry when tomorrow comes. I'll put you in the driver's seat. Don't gotta hurry now, 'cause we stay in control in the name of love.
Alright, here's our tube. You can see it marked 2.5 inches away on the same profile. Now, I would use something other than a Sharpie when you do it, because this turned out very, very hard to see, but it is there. Let's see if I can. So there's an accidental cut here, but 2.5 inches away should be another mark. And you can faintly see it right there. And then there should be another one right here, which you can kind of see. And then there's the cope on the end. So, I mean, obviously learn from my mistakes. Use something a little brighter, maybe something that marks a little bit better. I wouldn't necessarily use a Sharpie. I think it didn't work very well for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap on this Sharpie. As you can see, also my clip kind of was bogus. Had to basically tape everything, so that could be part of my problem too. But overall, this was just to prove that the method is viable, and you don't need a super like fancy machine to mark your bends and everything. Like, you can even cut the cope, the first cut, and then have it rapid to the position of your bend, and have that as your first G-code file. And then your second G-code file, it'll rapid from that position to the end of the bend, or to your next bend start. And then, yeah, like it's, you can split up these files. And basically what I'm trying to prove is that the method of importing it from Bendtech into Fusion is viable and accurate.